Okay, all right. So, hello, Vietnam ESG investing community. Welcome back to our program. So now we will start with our first fireside chat of the event. We will hear from a pioneering Vietnamese company on its journey to integrate ESG into its expansion plans and business strategies over the years. So I would like to invite to the stage for this fireside chat titled ESG is a Marathon, Not a Sprint, Ms. Phuong Ngoc Thao, the Vice Chairperson of the Board of Directors and Head of the ESG Committee at P&J. Want to applause? So, Thao has over 15 years of living, studying, and working in the UK, US, Australia, and New Zealand. She brings a wealth of international perspective on the corporate governance and operations to P&J. P&J, or also Phuong Jewelry, produces over 4 million products per year and operates the largest jewelry retail network in Vietnam with over 56% of the market share in middle and high-end jewelry segment. They're also notable and have won several awards in Asia for their business and sustainability practices. So thank you. So thank you, Ms. Thao, for joining us. I guess we'll start because for me, I mean, obviously the P&J brand is something that's extremely well known. We see it all over. And in the last few years, when I've been speaking to various investment funds and investors about what is an example, what is a great Vietnamese company that has been on this ESG journey for a long time now, has a good history of this, and also demonstrates profitability and positive impact when it comes to their bottom line. And the name that constantly comes up is P&J, particularly for their investment in the S, diversity, inclusion, access and equity, especially with their consumers and their workers. So we're very, very happy here today to have Ms. Thao so we can discuss a little bit about this ESG journey that P&J has been on. So I guess what I want to do is start out with like, what exactly is the vision for ESG at P&J? And is it tied to your core values as a leader or for the leadership? In what ways? And how and why is ESG so important and critical to the success and profitability of P&J?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to be here, in this event and to participate in this fireside chat. And thanks a lot, Mimi, for a very kind introduction of myself and of P&J. So, quite a long question, and I'm a bit pressured how I can share P&J's story in only 20 minutes. That's what the organizer has given me. So, a very short answer, P&J has had a proud history of 35 years, and we believe that, trust from the consumers, from the stakeholders, from our employees have been our secret weapon all over, and also our sustainable development mindset right from the beginning, from our founder, is to integrate the societies and other stakeholders' interests into the business interests. So that has always been our cornerstone, our strong foundation for our development journey. So basically, if we look into the future, we fully understand that sustainable development and also the trust, the care that we have received and also we have given to our stakeholders are the important key success factor for us. And of course, as a business, we want to grow. We want to be, for the next 50 years, 100 years, and keep growing and expanding and, adding a lot of value to the society and to our stakeholders, and also, of course, for our investors, the owners of the business. So we see ESG is the way to go. So, it's not totally new to us. It's just, an upgrade or, another development stage in our sustainable mindset. And we want to keep maintaining the momentum and utilize our ESG journey as, a force to, skyrocket us into the future.
No, I think it's really interesting in hearing you talk about the values from the start. It seems that when P&J started, your company viewed itself as part of the community and not separate from the community. And that means that you see the interactions and the intersectionality and the linkages between P&J as a company versus P&J as a member of the Vietnamese community at large, which is, I think, really interesting. We talked before in the previous session, we heard from some of the speakers talking about mindset change, right? It's not an added thing, but it's something that's very integral to the identity and the business strategy of P&J. And so when you're taking on, so we, this is the core values of P&J, but how, from a practical standpoint, how exactly do you translate these core values into an actual sustainability ESG strategy, like a business strategy? So you have that, big picture pie in the sky, but then from a practical business standpoint, how does that translate?
Thanks for the question. So basically, another thing that P&J is very proud of is that we are a learning organization, and that's consistent throughout our history. So our founders, our key leaders, always on a learning journey. So that's also how we sort of move from doing good for the society as something good from the heart into learning about what it means to be a sustainable business. So basically, sustainable development was sort of I wouldn't say too new concept in Vietnam, but the history probably only about 10 plus years ago when, VCCI and, the Chambers of Commerce start to basically educate the Vietnamese business what it means to do sustainable development properly. So we are always in the front line of learning about these new concepts. So, things like corporate culture, we're always in the first wave of Vietnamese company to learn about it properly, to really have, serious program inside the company to actually do it properly. So whatever we do, we want to do it properly. So, because ESG is, very closely linked to corporate culture. So, I use corporate culture as a case study. So, when we do our core values, we do it properly. So we have serious workshop to dig into our DNA to really find out what it means to P&J, and we keep refreshing it. So similarly, when we do sustainable development, we got training from, like foreign organizations, and then whatever we learn, we try to put it into practice in our own way, in our own understanding. And that's the only way where you can put knowledge and, sort of lessons into practice. And our mindset has always been, just try it and then make it better. So, the first year that we do a sustainable development report is, a very preliminary report. We try to do it our best. And then as we learn more about it, then we gradually change our practice to align. So it's a continual process. So now with ESG, we adopt the same mindset. So before we even launched our ESG journey last year, we already participated in many training workshops, panels, and try to educate ourselves as much as possible. So our ESG journey officially started last year when the board of directors decided to form the ESG committee to, the best practice is to have board leadership in ESG because it's so important to the future of the company. So, the first step we do is to set up the right governance because we know that to transition from just practicing sustainable development as a requirement into being proactive, then we need, the strong leadership from the board. We need the engagement from all stakeholders in the business. So that's why we need dedicated people. So at the board level, we have 3 board members in the ESG committee. And the first thing that I do as the head of ESG is to make sure that at the executive level, at the management level, there's the team. So, we hired ESG manager. Previously, sustainable development was sort of scattered throughout the business, and then the reporting was done by the external affairs team. And we believe that in order to, have a more formal and workable structure for ESG governance, we need a dedicated team. So we created a new role, the ESG manager. Currently, he sits under the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, and his role is sort of a PMO office, because we know that ESG is not just one project. ESG takes a lot of effort from almost everyone in the business. And then, there are various initiatives, from the small initiative that managed at the department level to corporate scale initiative or big project. So, yes, so basically, in summary, we try to learn and then implement and then see if it works, and if it not, then, we change or we modify.
No, that's the journey, I think, of Vietnam, is like you go, you do, you learn, you adapt, and you improve, right? I'm curious, though, when you, in the beginning, as P&J was embarking on the sustainability ESG journey, now it seems like you have amazing cooperation, collaboration between all of your stakeholders from the board, executive level, and down. But in the beginning, was it difficult to explain to your management, to your board, to your investors, hey, we want to invest this extra money to set up an ESG department or hire a manager, and these are all extra costs? How did you communicate? Did you run into any challenges, first of all? And number two, how do you communicate this to all of your stakeholders, including consumers?
First of all, I'd like to make sure that you sort of with me on this story, that I'm not here to oversell the story of P&J. So I'm very humble in saying that we are still in the very preliminary stage. And it was not me who's the first person to learn or know about ESG in P&J. It was our chairwoman and the founder of the business, and she was the first to attend all of this conference and learn about it, but she was very determined. So that's why she, just one day, and she said, you have to do it. You have to be the head of the ESG committee, and you have no choice. And then that's when I started to learn about it. And it was confusing at first, to get my head around. And I'm an economist by training. So back in the day when I learned economics, so profit is the only reason that business, exists for. And it was a very classical view, and I struggled with it for, when I learned about it, but still it's something in my head. So it's just to get my head around is the first thing before I can go and talk about it to our stakeholders. It's a very fun journey, but what I learned is that you need quite a large vocabulary in order to speak ESG in the business. And I would say I have the advantage to, have quite a diverse experience in my work experience. So I know how to talk the finance language. I know how to talk the sort of management style, general management style language. So if I have to convince the finance person to fund sort of an initiative, then I just say the investor wants it. So because I'm responsible for investor relation. So if you ever think of the next fundraising, then there's no choice. And also there's incentive, like some, well, not much right now, but some SDG linked facility. So to make the finance guy sound, get excited. And of course, if I talk to the HR team, then it's very closely related to the work they are doing. So, of course, they have to care about employer branding. They have to care about employee engagement. So ESG is just something to support them. So basically, we form a collaborative relationship. So that's how sort of I make my job easier. By sort of being friend rather than foe. It's not like you must do it, but it's in your interest to do it.
No, that is so interesting. I think for us who are ESG practitioners, we think this, but it's so interesting to hear someone in your position to say it out loud, being like, having this aspect of mindfulness and the broader view of what ESG means and how it's translated depending on who the stakeholder is. Because that's the thing, it can mean many different things, and it manifests itself into different ways, right? Either finance or HR and employee engagement, consumers. In terms of balancing the focus on E, S, and G within P&J, as I said before, I know P&J mainly because of the S part. Can you tell us what are some of the policies that P&J has enacted or implemented over the years that address each of these letters in the Vietnam context?
So one of the first mission of the ESG committee of the board is to sort of formulate our, what we call the ESG statement, sort of the guiding principle, what it means for P&J in terms of ESG and how it aligns to our business purpose, you know. So if you go into our website, you would see we publish our ESG statement. So our business purpose is that you know, we create products to honor the beauty of people and life. So our ESG statement is, you know, we act responsibly to honor the beauty of people and life in a sustainable way. So you may say that we play with words, but actually a serious effort of the ESG committee, you know, several serious meetings to debate and pick the keywords to formulate that. But of course, it's just a statement, but we understand that, you know, the ESG strategy needs a framework. So what it means, as your question addressed, you know, what it means in terms of E and S and G, what do we do? Because initially, if you look at the ESG universe, it's so intimidating when there's so many KPIs, so many, you know, index that you have to measure. But then for us, we understand that, you know, on one part, we need to comply with the law, the regulation, and the market benchmark. But also, as a business, we need to have a strategic focus. So the ESG committee did the homework, and then we organized a board-level workshop where we do sort of the impact metrics, so impact and effort, and also, you know, the stakeholder engagement. So we had multiple meetings with our investor, Dynam, with our lenders, HSBC, and also BCCI, as sort of the organizational, the governmental organization, to share their expectation of us. So all of that became the input, and also, of course, our employee, our customers, we listen to them. And then at that workshop, we put everything on the matrix. So what's important to our stakeholders, what's important to P&J in terms of our vision, in terms of our DNA, so on and so forth. So it boiled down to the strategic priorities. So for E, we choose 4. It's circular economy, it's carbon emission, it's waste management, and it's efficient use of energy. And for S, we also choose 4 area of focus, DEI, sort of total well-being of our employees, our people, human capital for us and for the society, and then sort of making the sustainable impact to our wider community. For governance, we also choose the 4 areas of focus as well, you know, transparency, reporting, so on and so forth. So it gives us the focus at the highest level in terms of strategy. And I'll be very honest that we now only, you know, in the second phase of making it translated into specific projects. So we have small-term initiative that we've been doing in previous years, and we continue. We do the benchmarking in terms of reporting, and we form a baseline. And of course, we keep doing what we've already done good, and then, but our mindset is to, you know, quickly move to the next stage when we can have a more medium to long-term view. We're not there yet. We have not announced sort of the 3 to 5 years project that B&J is going to embarking on, but that's in the plan, and hopefully we'll announce that soon.
No, I think what you described is very helpful because, you know, P&J is a very large company. It's, you know, one of the biggest companies in Vietnam. And to hear you say, okay, this is the strategy, you're taking it step by step by step. It's not a check the box exercise for P&J, but it's something that's the strategy itself, the practical steps that you're taking. It links back to your core, the DNA, like you said, the DNA of the company. But it's interesting to hear a company like P&J go through these, like, you know, not baby steps, but they're medium step. It's not a splashy big program, you know, to try and get it done over at once, but it's very thoughtful in the process. And I think that's something that will be a recurring theme throughout the conference, is that each step, you're not expected to do everything all at once, but it's a journey, and it's something where each step is very meaningful and very thoughtful and requires evaluation and adaptation. And then I also want to ask, what are some of the challenges that you've encountered, and how did you, from the ESG angle, and how did you, or are you resolving them? What's some of the biggest challenges?
Before I answer this question, I want to add a little bit to the previous, question. So for us, actually, you probably not hear this a lot, but for us, governance is actually the key driver. So, going back to the board level workshop, we have serious discussion and, sort of debate among board members to make sure that we balance stakeholders, because they have different view. We have independent directors as well. Of course, we have the executive, the CEO, the CFO. They might not want to spend a lot. But of course, from the board level, we exercise, the governance, right? And then so we're quite happy with the outcome. So it's serious thinking at the board level. So once we have that right, then we got alignment. So it becomes an easy conversation for me to have with the CEO and the CFO when it comes to budgeting, when it comes to project planning for the next year, because we already agree on the focus. So now the challenge is to make it work in more practical terms, to translate it into the real project. When we start the ESG journey, people at P&J was very excited, and that's the good thing for us, because we have a long tradition of being a responsible business. So all our managers were very excited, and we had workshops. We did a serious corporate governance workshop to highlight the importance of governance at the management level and one level below. And I shared several times to our top management team what ESG means, what are the areas within E and S and G that people care about, and what are the P&J priorities. So, I think communication and education is very important. But then, of course, you all know that to go beyond the excitement into the action is a hurdle. So, and the first thing also is the reporting and getting the baseline right. To be honest, we're not sort of at the level where I'll be happy about our reporting and be confident about our reporting, and that's a very transparent way. We try to adopt the best practice. We understand there's still gaps somewhere in the measurement because it's quite complicated, and that's where we spend effort right now. But we believe in a data-driven and quantifiable, approach. So, going from the metrics, then is sort of fact-based, and then we can have serious conversation with people at the production plant, people at the store, what it means for them to be, efficient use of energy. So that's the step that we're taking right now. And I would anticipate, of course, when it comes into action where people actually have to do something, then that's when we have the real test of the excitement. So yeah, and we try to mitigate it through communication. Keep communicating, and also make people feel good about it. And our employees, that every quarter, 2 days of salary would go into the company charity fund, and that's been in the sort of union contract. And actually people were told explicitly when they got the offer letter from P&J. This is sort of the common understanding, and if you are in align with this business, if you are aligned with this practice, then we welcome you. But if not, then maybe don't sign the letter. Because every quarter, 2 days of your salary is going to go to fund social projects.
No, I love that. I love that P&J is so open, front and center about this is our values, this is what we are doing, and love it or leave it. And people have loved it, mostly. And one last question, because we're almost out of time. What are some of the lessons and specific steps or advice that you can give to companies, especially Vietnamese companies in the audience, who are thinking about or starting to embark on their ESG journey?
So I guess all of us sitting here are fully aware of the ESG wave. So there's no choice. So it's just you have the choice to be proactive. It's like the first carriage in the train, or you be on the last one. The good thing to be in the front is that you receive a lot of help and a lot of support. That's what I find when we take the bold move of announcing our ESG journey. Then we receive a lot of sort of assistance from investors, our lenders. They're very willing. But if your business are the last group to follow, then maybe you don't enjoy that comfort of the patience from the investor. So I think that's a very upfront answer from me. But the other thing is, don't be scared, because people appreciate your effort. The pressure is there, but it's not too much right now. And just get started, and at least you do something, and then you learn along the journey. Because I understand that it's difficult. It's not easy at all to get it around your head, to sort of persuade your stakeholders even within the company, and then you have to communicate it to your management team, your staff, down to people at the stores level. But there's no other way than just do it, and then you learn, and then you try.
No, thank you so much, Ms. Thao. I can sit here and talk to you all day about ESG strategy. So fascinating. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Support.